Hey, what's going on, guys? Steve here, Rake and Profit. And in this video, I want to share 10 things I wish I knew before I started selling on eBay over 7 or 8 years ago when I first started. And these are lessons that I've learned. These are things that, I didn't know when I first started. It wasn't common sense. And over time, I learned these things slowly but surely. So I want to share these 10 things to help you to avoid these mistakes, especially if you're new. Even if you've been doing this for 6, 12, 18 months, there's some things that you can learn here. So let's dive right into it. So the first thing that I wish I knew when I started selling on eBay is being the lowest price isn't everything, right? A lot of people think in order to get the sale, you have to be the lowest price on eBay. And it's not true. There's a lot of things that are going to factor in. Some of the things are going to be in your control and other things are going to be out of your control. One of the things that's out of your control is the algorithm. eBay, it has a mind of its own. And it's funny how it feels like sometimes the people who run eBay, the development team, it seems like sometimes they turn the switch on and the sales flow in and then they turn the switch off. And there's really nothing different that you're doing. And I'm going to talk about some things in this video to be able to boost sales. But that's one thing that's out of your control. Another thing when it comes to pricing is a lot of times customers will purchase from somebody who has really high quality pictures. A lot of people won't buy from you if you only have 1 or 2 pictures. That's why you want to fill out as many pictures as you can, which is 12. Give as much detail as you possibly can in the description. Have a really good return. Allow people to take returns, right? A good policy. Lowest price isn't everything. If you have really good feedback, if you ship quickly, some people, they have 3 to 5 day shipping and handling time, that's going to hurt your sales a lot. So lowest price isn't everything. You don't always have to be the lowest price in order to get the sale. And those are just a couple examples right there. Number 2, I wish I knew how important bookkeeping was. When I was new, the first couple of years, my life used to be a nightmare when it came down to tax season. And 2 and 3 are connected, but bookkeeping's so important because if you don't have your books in line, if you're not tracking your expenses, if you're not tracking your write-offs, which you should be, because at the end of the day, you're going to pay taxes on your profit. And, your profit's going to be determined from your income minus your expenses. So if you don't show any of your expenses, then, the tax man's going to just consider it all profit. So you want to track all of your expenses, all of your income, everything. So when it comes to the end of the year, you don't overpay on taxes. And number 3 is taxes are real. When I was new, I didn't think that, for me, I knew that you'd pay taxes, but I didn't understand how much you'd have to pay. For some people, it's going to be upwards to 25, 30, 40%, depending on how much money you're making. If you have other income and it's being added onto it, I don't know what tax bracket you're on, but paying taxes is real. It's a real thing. And I believe Amazon sends out a 1099 if you have 200 transactions and or 20,000 in sales. I'm not sure if this is different nowadays. Legally you're supposed to pay taxes on any income that you make, but a lot of people won't if they don't get that 1099. But I'm telling you, have your books in line. I'll put a video down below. I just posted a really in-depth guide to bookkeeping, the software I use, how to track everything. This is something that took me years. It's 100% free. Check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. But that's a great video. But bookkeeping, you got to do it. I use GoDaddy Bookkeeping. Well, that's what I first started off with. Now I use a more advanced software that's more expensive, but GoDaddy Bookkeeping is a great way to start. That's what I've got my mom on as well to track her books for her Amazon business. But taxes are real. Number 4, listing consistency. The consistency of listing consistently is huge. That's the number 1 thing that you can do to be successful on eBay. Well, that's probably the second most important thing. I'll talk about what I think the most important thing is, which is number 6. But listing consistently is huge. The algorithm loves it. The algorithm, right, which is pretty much the code, the software that runs eBay, they love to see sellers who are consistently posting. And I've noticed the more that I list, the more items that I sell, right? It seems like old inventory that's been sitting forever. When I list 5, 10, 15 items today, items that were listed months ago, they start to sell. It's really, really weird. I wish I knew the exact science of this all, but after posting thousands and thousands of items on eBay and just my experience, myself and other people as well, is the more you list, the more the algorithm boosts you, Maybe items are more visible. I'm not sure, but listing consistently is huge. That's the number one thing that you could do. Well, number two, I keep saying number one, but it's number two because a big mistake people make is they list consistently. And I'll just jump to number 6 and then I'll go back to 5. But this stems from listing consistently. Is a lot of people when they're new, they list. And they're like, yeah, Rake and Profit told me to list. Rally Roots, Rockstar Flipper, they all said list as much as you can. That's important. But if you're listing a bunch of crap, you're just gonna have a store full of junk that doesn't sell, or a store full of junk that sells for really low ticket prices. You know, I don't care if you're selling 30, 40 items a day. If they're all $3, $4, $5, you know, at the end of the day, what matters most is how much money are you making per hour, or else you might as well just work a job. If you're only making 12 bucks an hour and you're selling 40 items a day, is that really worth it? Is this what you're doing? Is this what you're running your eBay business for? Maybe it's to not have a boss. In that case, you're fine. But if you're trying to build financial freedom and income, it's gonna be tough selling a bunch of little tiny low ticket items. Now, if you're in the volume game and if you have systems in place and maybe you have employees or staff, or you're doing wholesale and you're able to list, one item and you have 100 of it, a little tinker, and it takes 20 seconds, that's a different story. But if you're going to thrift stores and garage sales, buying a bunch of low ticket items, and maybe first of all, they're slow sellers, and secondly, when they sell, you're only making $1 profit. If you haven't mastered your time and you're in those systems to get it listed, the shipping and the listing and the pictures and the customer service, it's going to eat your hourly rate alive. So you want to focus on quality over quantity, especially when you're new, and especially when you don't have your systems in place. I remember when I was new and I was running a full-time clothing business, at the time I was building up to it, I was buying clothing items that would only make $3, $4, $5 profit. And after a while, I realized I have to focus on $10 profit, $15 profit minimum, because the time it takes to bring it home and clean it and measure it and take pictures and list it and customer service and, ironing everything, it was just killing my hourly rate. So you want to focus on quality over quantity. This is one of the biggest mistakes a lot of eBay sellers make, even Amazon sellers who are focusing on retail arbitrage and booksellers. They get in the habit of just buying any and everything that has a profit. And you've got to consider how long it's going to take to sell. You got to consider how much of a pain in the butt it's going to be to list, how long it's going to take to list and take pictures and all of that. So I just want to jump ahead to that because quantity over quantity is important. You want to focus on your hourly rate. You want to have a cutoff of minimum profit you want to make. You don't want a store full of slow items. Again, if you're going to have a bunch of low ticket items, make sure you have systems in place, or you're doing wholesale, or you have, it's got to be worth your time. That's the biggest thing that I wish that I knew. Number 5, jumping back, was don't ship your items at the post office and go in and have them weigh everything and have them label everything. You're going to pay more. You're going to waste a ton of time. You're going to piss everybody off in line. It's so easy to ship your items from home. If you're selling on eBay, depending on what plan you have, they're going to give you free supplies as well, like free shipping tape, boxes, different things like that. Plus, you could buy boxes dirt cheap on eBay now. But ship from home, ship through the system. When you ship through the system, like through the eBay platform, you'll be able to choose the cheapest method, whether it's a flat rate or just straight postage, regional boxes, flat rate. You could also jump from company to company, like you could ship through USPS or through FedEx or UPS. They give all the options. Plus now it's really cool. Say you have 6 or 7 items to ship, you can bulk ship them. So you just put in the measurements and the weight for each item, and then you can print all the labels out at once. Don't go to the post office. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. You're killing your hourly rate. And I didn't know this. I did this when I first started. And, back then it was a little more challenging to print labels online. Now it's so easy now with the eBay app, and these platforms, eBay and Amazon, they've just done such a great job at improving their platforms. But learn about the different ways to ship, learn about the different methods. I've got videos on my channel. There's some other great videos on YouTube as well. Number 7, jumping back over number 6, is I wish I knew that customers are complete liars when they want to be. I've heard every excuse in the book. Matter of fact, it was funny. One of my buddies, he had, it works for sellers and buyers. My buddy, he bought some Legos. He was doing some arbitrage off eBay. And he said he bought a bunch of Legos off of a guy. And when he went to go pay, the seller canceled the order, and my buddy messaged him and said, "What happened? You know, it's only been 4 hours since I purchased it. You know, I want to make payment." And he says, "My kid had a nervous breakdown and destroyed all my Lego boxes in my inventory room." And I'm just like, what? How many times have people like messaged me, you know, speaking of other stories, like how many times have people messaged me saying like, "Oh, my kid snuck on and he ordered the item for me," or there's just every story in the book. It's just, customers are liars. And the point I'm trying to make is, don't fight with them. Don't argue with them. Don't question them, because they're going to leave you negative feedback. As a seller, the buyers have all the power in the world. Don't fight with them. Don't argue with them. I don't know if you're similar to me, but I get passionate, and sometimes I want to rip someone's face off, especially some of these customers. Matter of fact, I've sold this one book on my eBay store this last week. Sold it for $160. The guy canceled it, gave me a BS response. Then I sold it again 2 days later for $180 because there was the best offer on it, and the guy never paid again. And it's like, sometimes you literally want to go psycho and go nuts, but the truth is, as passionate and as excited and as inspired as you might be feeling, don't play into it. It never works out for me. It creates just a lot of anger, anxiety. It doesn't make you feel good. The buyer's always going to make you think that you're wrong, and don't waste your mental energy fighting with customers and risking negative feedback. It's going to pull you away from the most important thing in this business, which is sourcing, which is listing, which is fulfilling on your orders. So I wish I knew how hard it was going to be, especially for someone like myself who's very passionate, or an a-hole, whatever you want to call me. Don't waste your time on it. It's just a waste of time. Number 8, I didn't realize before I started that eventually I would feel like quitting. And this is normal. After talking to hundreds of sellers, I think we all go through a point where we just feel like quitting. You know, maybe we're getting tons of customer returns, or customers are canceling orders and making up lies, or you buy a bunch of items and you realize maybe they're counterfeit, or there's a huge rip in the item and you can't return it. Maybe sometimes you're listing like crazy, you're putting your heart and soul in it, and items just don't sell, and the algorithm just slaps you in the face and says, "Ha, you wish." I mean, sometimes you feel like quitting and giving up, and it's normal. It's part of the process. I guess the best advice I could say is when times are slow, just keep listing. I know that probably doesn't help you very well, but things always turn around. They really do. You know, there's peaks and valleys all the time with these, you know, sales on eBay, and things are slow, but the sun is always coming around the corner. And the times that I have had slow sales and I stopped listing, when things started to pick up again, they were really capped off because I wasn't consistently listing previously. Whereas when times were slow and I kept listing, when things turned around, things popped off, and overall everything averages out. So look at things from a long viewpoint instead of just looking at things from like a week-to-week basis. Look over a month-to-month basis or a quarter-to-quarter basis. Typically things will work out on eBay if you have quality inventory. And speaking of quality inventory, a lot of new people, and I wish I knew this as well when I first started, don't get stuck in just one sourcing method. You know, don't blame eBay or blame like the competition. "Oh, I can't find items, da-da-da-da-da, like my sales are slow, like screw eBay, blah, blah, blah." Like a lot of times it comes down to our ability to put quality items on our store. And a lot of times we're stuck just going to thrift stores or stuck just going to a garage sale. You know, the people that I've noticed who succeed and the times where I've done really well, it's when I've taken the time to kind of take a step back and experiment with new sourcing strategies, whether that's Facebook Marketplace or going to auctions or buying a storage locker, which I haven't done a ton of, but I have friends who have crushed it with that. Building relationships, getting backroom access, sourcing online, trying out wholesale, there's so many different ways to source items, flea markets, auctions, estate sales, liquidation. I mean, I could sit here all day long. Don't get stuck in the trap of just, you know, being a one-trick pony. If it's working, it's working, that's great. But if you're having a hard time finding stuff, shut up, stop complaining, and go out and find some new ways to source items. Don't be a little sheep just doing what everybody else is doing. I know it stinks to hear, but I'm not even saying this to you. Like, I'm looking in the camera saying, Steve, don't be a little sheep. Don't be a little crybaby. Don't whine and, oh, eBay, you're so bad. The algorithm's so... Shut up, Steve. Go out and find some new ways to source, you lazy bum. But that's what I say to myself sometimes, and I've had to break out of those negative patterns. But there's so many items out there. I mean, especially if you're watching this video and you're living in America, and I don't even care if you're living in like the middle of nowhere, there's so many opportunities. If you're in the middle of nowhere and you don't have a lot of places locally, you're gonna have to resort to online arbitrage. And there's so many ways to source online. Now that Facebook Marketplace is shipping, I've been crushing it lately, sourcing off of eBay. There's just so many opportunities. I'm telling you, based on where you live, you just have to find that out. So don't be scared to try new sourcing methods. And last but not least, I still remember when I lived at home with my parents, 7 years ago. I probably had about 300 or 400 items in my inventory, and my life turned into a living hell because I didn't have an inventory management system. Create a system. You can YouTube Rake and Profit inventory management system. I've got a couple different ways that I track my inventory. Make sure that you track your inventory with SKUs, with some type of system, because if you have hundreds of items for sale and something sells and you don't have a system to be able to find it outside of just, I think I put it there and I'm storing all my stuff here and there. Once you start to really grow and scale your business and have a lot of volume, it stinks when you can't find an item. I used to search through my closet for an hour sometimes to find one piece, and I just couldn't find it. I have to cancel orders, and it really hurts you in the algorithm. Nowadays that the algorithm is so sophisticated, it's picking up. If you're canceling orders, they're gonna stop showing your items to people. So just to recap really quick, the 10 things I wish I knew before I started selling on eBay. Number 1, lowest prices in everything. 2, bookkeeping is important, it's crucial. And that leads to number 3, taxes are real. You're gonna get that 1099. And even if you don't, you really need to be claiming your income. So you got to have your books in line. Even, get a good CPA or someone who can help you, a good accountant. Listing consistently is huge. Print shipping labels from home and learn about the shipping methods. Number 6, focus on quality over quantity. Your time is money, and you got to know what your time is worth. Having a huge store of items and listing consistently a bunch of junk or low ticket items that don't make it worth your time isn't a business. Number 7, customers are gonna lie. Don't take it personal. Don't fight with them. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Number 8, feeling like quitting is normal. I've gone through this. You've probably seen the clickbait titles on my channel over the years. I mean, I talk about this because this is real life. Everyone wants to talk about freaking, how everything's so amazing and great and peachy, but I like to talk about the negative stuff sometimes because this is real life. Number 9, try new sourcing methods. Your source is everything, and finding inventory is the key to the growth of your business. And number 10, have an inventory management system. You got to be able to find your stuff when it sells. So hopefully this video helped. If it did, be sure to smash that like button. And with that being said, I appreciate you. Links down below to things that I referenced and resources. And I really appreciate you guys watching. Much love.